Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome to another episode of She Talks Business. Thank you for your patience. We took a little bit of a break over the holiday season and I am super excited to be back here with you today. And I have a lot in store for you. I have worked really hard on this episode, so I hope you get tremendous value. And what I want to talk to you about today is how marketing is changing in 2025. It's not the wild, wild west. You can't just put one post up on Facebook and expect to get tons of new business today. Things have changed a lot in the last year, and they are going to continue to change. The simplicity around social media marketing that it once was is no longer the same. There are more layers of complexity than there ever have been. And it's important for you as a business owner to understand what those different layers are, the nuances for each of them, and to actually lean in and learn more about these things so that you have a more cohesive marketing strategy. All right, so the great marketing myth of 2025 is not choosing between being authentic or automated. It's actually mastering both. And if you think that you can succeed by just being real on camera or just letting AI handle your content, you are missing the bigger picture. There is so much more to it. We are entering a time where you need to be a tech wizard and a genuine storyteller. You need an SEO strategy just as much as you need a strong personal brand. And you need to think about AI as the ultimate amplifier, not the replacement of what you know how to do. So I want to start by telling you a little bit of a story. I want to talk about Warby Parker. I'm sure you've heard of Warby Parker, the eyeglass company. Well, they've been doing some really, really remarkable things that you can learn from. You and I can both learn from them. I've learned a lot from them. So Warby Parker really disrupted their industry by focusing on being a direct-to-consumer distribution channel versus trying to be everywhere and all things. And they have been handsomely rewarded for that focus. They are valued at about $68 billion. And in 2023, they finished the year with almost $700 million in sales. So they're a big company. You may not be as big as they are, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn from some of the things that they have done to get big. So let's dive in. I have identified, 8 or 9 things that they do that I think you can learn from. So number one, they use social media. They use social media regularly, and they actually do a pretty good job on social media. Most of their social media feels very grassroots, very approachable. It doesn't feel overproduced. It doesn't feel like it has been set and forgotten. It feels like they are engaged with their audience. So they're leveraging their social media channels on a regular basis, which is great. They're also leveraging social media ads. So they use social media ads and they funnel their ads into a quiz funnel. So they take their ads, which then send you to a quiz funnel, which actually allows them to collect zero-party data. So you might not know what zero-party data is. I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. But here's what you need to think about. They have regular Facebook content or regular social media content. And they have paid content. The paid content takes them into a quiz funnel. When they go into the quiz funnel, they are now collecting data directly from the consumer, and this person is going into their email marketing sequence. From there, they are getting email marketing and nurture sequence, which has about a 3% conversion rate on sales, which is not a bad little sales funnel to have happening. So you get these people into the quiz, and then you have this great email marketing that lends to sales. But then this other thing happens. The customer experience is really, really great. And because the customer experience is great, word of mouth marketing and referrals are really, really, really strong. In addition to that, they are utilizing augmented reality through their mobile app to let you try glasses on. So they're doing some cool tech stuff that is actually valuable for the end user, and it makes the interaction with them before you buy your eyeglasses kind of fun. So it's kind of a cool thing that they're doing. but they're also leveraging SEO. And they're leveraging SEO in a really, really, really big way. They have over 2,200 keywords that are ranked on the first page of Google. In addition to that, they have over 170,000 backlinks that go out to their site from other people's websites. So if you don't know what a backlink is, what it is when, let's say I put a link from this podcast to the Warby Parker website because I'm talking about Warby Parker, that is a backlink. And when you look at domain authority, your domain authority rises when you have credible backlinks. Not junk backlinks, but credible backlinks from other websites that produce regular content and also have strong domain authority. So they have 170,000 of these, which is huge. They generate about 1.5 million visits a month. If you take that 1.5 million visits and you contrast it with 700 million in sales, and you take 700 million divided by 12, it's about 58 million a month. That means that for every visit they get to their website, they are generating on average $40. It's pretty darn smart. And they're socially responsible. They have a buy a pair, give a pair program, and they've donated over 15 million pairs of eyeglasses. So when you think about them, they're doing a lot of stuff. Now I know you might be sitting there rationalizing going, yeah, but they're a big company. We all start the same on day one. And you don't have to have 170,000 backlinks. You don't have to have over 2,000 words ranked on the first page of Google, but you do need a plan. You do need to understand how these things all interconnect and work together. There's too many of you out there that are doing spray and pray marketing. You're doing this thing on Instagram and this thing on Facebook, and maybe you put something on your website and you send a newsletter once in a while. You're not thinking about the ecosystem of how all of these things work together to help you build your brand, to help you gain more browsers who are interested in becoming buyers, and then converting those people into actual customers. So I want you to step back, and at the end of this podcast, I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and I want you to score yourself when I ask you those 10 questions on how well you're doing when it comes to approaching your marketing. So let's talk about you and why does this matter? Marketing is changing. It's changing in a big way. It's becoming more complex by the day. Everywhere you turn today, there is a new tool that you can pay a monthly subscription fee to use for a bunch of things, whether it's AI, whether it's email marketing, whether it's SEO, whether it's things like Canva. It doesn't matter. There's a million things out there that you can be buying to help you with your marketing. So before you jump into all of those things, it only makes sense that you have a cohesive plan and that you really understand how they all work together. So there's definitely more sophistication is going to happen in 2025 between content marketing, traditional marketing, list building, SEO, managing your website, and social selling. And you know, when I was talking about Warby Parker, I didn't even mention television. They use television as a form of marketing as well. So they're doing all of the things and they're doing them well, and they are being handsomely rewarded for those efforts. If you scale that down and you say, you know, Lisa, I don't want a $700 million business. I don't even want a $7 million business. I'd be happy if my business did 700,000, or I'd be happy if it did 70,000. That doesn't mean that you can't look at what they're doing to generate the success that they have and apply it to your own business. When you start to reverse engineer the way people use tools and tactics, you can actually start to create your own plan that you can get more traction from. So you definitely need a plan that has more interconnectivity. Too many of you are doing things in fits and spurts without any real strategy behind how things work. And then you wonder why it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you're not thinking about how things go together. You need to focus, like really focus, and stop letting other people distract you from your own business goals. It's time to do a cleanse. It's time to unsubscribe to all those things that you're subscribed to, except for the few that provide you with value on a regular basis so that you can focus on doing what is most important, which is building and growing your own business. You need to focus on the skills and the tools that you need to move forward and not be distracted by what everybody else is doing, because often you're just seeing the tip tip of the iceberg. You're not seeing what's going on behind or below the level that is really making people successful. And here's my advice. You need to pick one thing related to marketing and get really good at it. I don't know what it's called. Blue Sky, I think it is, this new social media channel. And everybody and their dog over the holiday season in the month of December, oh, I'm a Blue Sky, oh, I'm a Blue Sky, oh, I'm a Blue Sky. I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. How many social channels do you have to be part of? Because what's happening is you post the exact same thing on Instagram, you auto post it to Threads, you post the exact same thing on Facebook, the exact same thing on LinkedIn, and then you're so bored with your own stuff because you're just spraying and praying everywhere that it's not being effective. So if you're not getting results from one channel from the work that you're doing, why add it to 10 channels? You're just amplifying noise. You're contributing to the noise, and maybe you're just, spraying more garbage out there instead of getting really clear on what is going to help you. And then I think you also have to remember, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So as I'm walking through these things and talking to you about them, I know some of you are like, okay, but that's a lot of work. Well, yeah, it's a lot of work to run a business and do it successfully. And unless you are someone who is lucky enough to receive referrals and inbound leads on a regular basis without needing to do much work, you need to take your marketing seriously. Marketing is what helps a business be successful. Marketing is what helps you generate leads. And so if you cannot master marketing, it will be really hard for you to master the growth of your business. And you will live in an environment where things happen by accident instead of by design. And I think that you can do things by design, but it may require you to take a step back and start looking at all of these different channels that you're using and figuring out how to get really good at one. And then once you have that one mastered, take another one and get really good at that instead of spreading yourself so thin on so many places that you're not able to be effective on any of them. All right, the next thing, you need more personality, the more real you, less produced, more engaging, and more engagement. So teleprompters are gone. You need to learn how to look at a camera and speak to a camera and be okay with not being perfect. You got to be okay with doing like I did. I knocked over my lipstick and made a sound and I didn't stop the video and start over again. You got to be okay with the lighting not being perfect, your office space not being perfect. Studio recordings are great. And I love studio recording for batch content creation. But if you want to be able to create content on the fly and you want to be able to share things on a regular basis on social media, you have got to be able to do both. You've got to be able to do things that are unscripted and in the moment. And you have to also be able to do things that are planned out. But you need to be able to talk about what you know without reading a script. So, do I have some notes here that I am following in terms of what I'm talking to you about today? Absolutely. I've got notes, I've got bullet points, but I'm not reading full sentences out loud to you because I'm talking to you about things that I have knowledge and expertise in. You need to be able to do the same. You need to build the confidence to do it. And the only way that you build the confidence to do it is through the reps. You got to get out there and do it over and over and over again. You have to create content that is worth people engaging with. And at the same time, you have to hold the space to not be attached if people are not engaging. Just because people are not engaging in your content doesn't mean that it isn't working. There are a lot of people out there that just consume content and they don't actually interact with it. This is why the ecosystem matters, because you may have a social profile or presence footprint without a lot of engagement, but you may have a humming business because you're getting a lot of traffic from your social channels and they're going into your newsletter or they're going into your nurture campaigns and you're generating sales from them. If it's working to get you business, then that's what matters. I would rather have less engagement on social media and a robust business than a bunch of vanity metrics and engagement on social media and no sales. So you've got to create content that is so good that people want to engage with it or they want to know more about you. And you have to not be so attached to the comments and the likes, but be more attached to what's going on your website, because that's where people are making buying decisions. And then you have to engage more often. There's a lot of people out there that all they do is broadcast content. All they're doing is here, buy my stuff. They're just putting stuff out there and they're never engaging and interacting with other people's content. you need to get good at engaging in other people's content. Find places where you can show up and comment on things, where you can also demonstrate your value in the comments. There's a lot of conversations that go on different spaces in social media where you can show up and you can add a lot of value. So go look for those places where you can do that. It can be on Instagram, it can be on Threads, it can be inside of a Facebook group, wherever. It could be a LinkedIn post, but you have an opportunity to show up and add value on other people's content. And the reason that showing up and adding value on other people's content is so important is now you're actually showing up in somebody else's audience pool, and you have an opportunity for people to see you that wouldn't have known you existed before then. So make it a point of engaging with other people's content. You need to focus on true thought leadership versus content creation. There's a difference, okay? And right now, AI can make you a content creator on steroids, or it can make you a better thought leader. You have to ask yourself, what do you aspire to be? Do you just want to be a content factory and jam stuff out there? Because you can just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, go to these links on my website and give me 50, 75 posts for ABC channels, and it'll do that for you. Is it going to be good? Might be okay. Is it going to be as good as if you did it yourself? Probably not. Or you can do like what I did. I'm going to share what I did for my podcast. I'm starting to get a little bored of my podcast, feeling like I've said so much about so many things. Are people even interested in hearing what I have to say anymore? So I went to AI and I asked ChatGPT to help me come up with a 26-week plan for my podcast. And I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to interview me. And I want you to ask me questions all about my skills and areas of expertise and how I help my customers and things that I sell to my customers, etc. And I want you to interview me and really understand what I bring to the table. And then I want you to make recommendations on things that you think I could create podcasts for. So asked me a ton of questions. I answered all the questions. And then it created a list of 26 different topics with like a couple of talking points for each one. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take each of those topics and I want you to find a real life story like Warby Parker. And I want you to show me how that real life example ties into what I'm talking about. And I want you to give me a link to the resources where I can go do my own research and learn more about the story. I want you to help me with a hook. I want you to help me with a compelling title. I want you to help me with some calls to action that I can do to make the podcast more interesting and create a little bit of a framework for me to follow. And so it did. It did this for me for 26 episodes. Now, did I use exactly what it gave me? No, I didn't. But I took this episode and I copied and pasted what it gave me, and then I did my own thing. I did my own research and I came in and I did my own notes and my own bullets and I built it out so that it sounded like me and not ChatGPT. This is an example of you using AI to make you a better thought leader instead of using AI to make you a content creator. There's a difference. AI can generate content for you all day long based on the content you've already created. But if you want to get better at creating content, you need to use AI in a different way. I'm going to give you another example. So in 2025, I have introduced a new way to work with me. It's called an action accelerator. It's a 90-minute strategy session with me where we roll up our sleeves and we work on strategy, or sometimes we work on tactics, and I help you actually get something done that you have been procrastinating on. So I wrote out the description of this 90-minute strategy session, this action accelerator, and I went to ChatGPT. Actually, I went to Claude.ai, and I entered all of the details of the program into Claude.ai, and I said, I want you to tell me how to make this better. I don't want you to rewrite it. I want you to give me feedback on how I could write this better, how I could make this more compelling, how I could showcase more value for other people. Can you help me do that? And right away, went through it, came back, and it gave me a bunch of suggestions on things that I could do to make my own work better. It didn't write it for me, but it gave me direction on how to make my own content better. So these are things that you need to learn how to do. AI can be your partner, but you don't want AI to replace you, People want you. And here's the thing that I'm afraid of. People are going to use AI to create thought leadership for so much in their business that they're actually going to lose their thought leadership. Because if you're not creating it, how do you really know what it is? You don't. If you have AI creating everything for you, then you are actually diminishing your own subject matter expertise. And people want to do business with people who are smart and actually have subject matter expertise. So be careful you don't rely on AI too much, because it could actually jeopardize your business. All right, next thing you need to understand is the zero-party data. This was a new term to me, so I wrote down the description. I'm going to read it to you. Zero-party data is information customers intentionally share with your business. It's information that you collect from people using various collection methods that help you to understand your customers better. So some of those methods include interactive quizzes about their preferences, customer profile questionnaires, style or product preference surveys, purchase intent forms, newsletter preference centers, feedback surveys. You can collect all of this data and it can tell you a lot about your customer, but you have to do something with the data then. So again, AI is your trusty friend. You collect enough data, you can say to AI, look at this data, tell me what are the trends, what are the problems, what are the opportunities, what are the pieces of content that I should be creating, what are the offerings I should be making based on what my customers are telling me. And it will help you to synthesize the data. You know, the problem with websites like Amazon, for example, sure, you can sell stuff all day long on Amazon if you have a retail product to sell, but you don't get to capture any customer data. Amazon gets all the customer data. Amazon knows how to make recommendations. If you like this, you might like that. But because you are letting places like Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Amazon and whatever tools you're using collect the data, you don't have access to the data. It doesn't have to be complicated either. You can use something as simple as Typeform and people will enter the information in. You could use MailChimp and not MailChimp, SurveyMonkey and gather information that way. But get into the habit of trying to collect information from your customers so that you know more about them. All right, and then the last thing, we've talked about this a bit, is you need to understand how to use AI tools. But I want you to think of AI as the container that goes around your marketing that helps you make your marketing better. I don't want you to think of it as the tactic that makes your marketing easier. Because if you use it as the tactic to make everything easy, you lose your competitive advantage. So here are 4 ways that I want you to be thinking about using AI. 1, content creation. So that can be content writing, it could be brainstorming, it could be helping you with marketing copy, image generation, video and audio editing, video creation. There's all kinds of things you can use. But remember what I said, use it to help you become better at your thought leadership. Don't use it to abdicate responsibility for being a thought leader, okay? The second thing you can use it for is marketing and analytics. So ad copy generation, social media management, ad performance prediction. The third thing is customer service. So chatbots, customer automations, sales assessment tools. You know, when you see people say, oh, DM this word and I'll send you my guide, that is AI. That is just like ManyChat sending you, an automated message through DM because you used a keyword that triggered a response. And then lastly, operations. How you operate your business. AI can be a huge partner in helping you to operate your business better so that you're not so scattered and all over the place. It can help you improve your writing. It can help you with your business presentations. It can help you through meeting transcriptions. It can help you create process documentation. There's so many ways that AI can help you operationalize your business so that things that maybe were taking a long time to do on the back end for your business can be done in a much quicker amount of time, which gives you more time to focus on your marketing and it gives you more time to focus on interacting with your customers. So as you can see, there is a lot going on right now, and you can continue to approach your marketing the way you always have, but over time, you're going to see that your results are going to go down and down and down and down. You might already see that some of your results are not as good as they once were, and it's because things are changing so fast that if you're not changing at the same time and you're not paying attention to the trends, then it's going to impact you. If you look at the algorithms today, there's so much noise out there. You're fighting for attention. And you're not going to get the attention unless you come at it from a bunch of different angles. All right. So I told you at the beginning I was going to give you an assessment to do. So I could send you to my website if I was like prepared and make you do this on a type form and collect your data, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I've got 10 questions for you. I'm going to read them out loud, and I want you to give yourself a score of 1 if you do this and a 0 if you don't. And at the end, you're going to add up your totals for 10, and you're going to give yourself a score in terms of what percentage of the things are you actually good at right now. And then your job in 2025 is to systematically get better at each of these things. So number 1, are you utilizing all social channels that you have an account with daily with valuable content for your audience? Not just once in a while, but daily. Are you showing up daily and contributing something of value everywhere that you have a channel? Give yourself a 1 if you're doing that. Give yourself a 0 if you're not doing that consistently. Number 2, are you leveraging paid ads? Are you using paid ads in any format to drive traffic to your website? If you don't have a regular recurring paid ad going on in your business right now, that's something you probably want to try for 2025. If you look at Meta, I don't care if you're on Instagram or Facebook, every third post is an ad, which means that 33% of posts are ads. 33%. And you know how much volume of content there is out there? If 33% of it is advertising and you're not in that game, you're missing a huge opportunity for people to see you. So if you regularly run ads, which means you run ads every month, give yourself a 1. Otherwise, give yourself a 0. Do you have any type of zero-party data collection? Are you doing anything to collect data? And you can give yourself a 1 even if you're doing it manually, but as long as you're doing something to aggregate that data so that you actually have a repository that you can look at. So if you're collecting data, give yourself a 1. If you're not collecting data, give yourself a 0. Do you have an email funnel that nurtures clients and leads them to making a buying decision? Yes or no? Not just do they subscribe to your newsletter and that's it, they get your next newsletter, but do you actually have a nurture funnel? Like if I am brand new to your world and I come to your website and I have no idea what you do you have a way to kind of like indoctrinate me to your work and nurture me along and help me to know what the best of the best is that you have to offer that culminates in an offer for me to maybe buy something from you? If you don't, it's time to put that nurture sequence together. Give yourself a 1 if you've got it. Give yourself a 0 if you do not. The next one, do you actually measure conversions? Do you have any way to measure your conversion rate? So conversion rate is the percentage of people who buy from the percentage of people who browse. 10 people walk into a store and 1 person buys, your conversion rate is 10. Do you know what your conversion rate is? Because if you don't know what your conversion rate is, then you don't know how much traffic you need to actually get to the sales that you want to accomplish on an annual basis. Warby Parker knows that 3% of people that go into their quiz funnel and get into their email marketing buy. Do you know what that number is? If you don't, you might want to start looking at it. Again, if you don't have the data to track in an automated fashion, try doing it manually. Maybe in your business, it is conversations that lead to sales. Are you tracking how many conversations you had and how many of them resulted in sales? How do you know if you're getting better or worse in sales if you don't track conversion? You got to track your conversion. Number 6. Do you do anything experiential and fun for potential clients like the Warby Parker app where they get to try on glasses? Do you have something experiential or fun? It could be that you, have a Facebook group that is fun, free, it's interactive, and you got lots of stuff going on. Are you doing something to create an experience for people? It could be a community experience. It could be a mobile app experience. It could be something, another community could be like a circle community or a Kajabi. Are you doing something to create an experience? Give yourself a 1 if you are, a 0 if you're not. Number 7, do you regularly receive customer referrals? I'm going to say once a month is a 1. Anything under once a month is a 0. Are your customers sending you referrals? And if they're not, time to start asking them. Number 8, do you rank for anything on the first page of Google? Do you even know if you rank for anything on the first page of Google? Do you know what you want to rank on the first page of Google for? Do you even know what it means to rank? What it means to rank is if somebody enters a specific keyword, can they find you on the first page of Google based on that keyword? So I can tell you right now, I rank for Lisa Larter. I rank for Lisa Larter. If you Google Lisa Larter, you are definitely going to find Lisa Larter on the first page of Google. But do you find you on the first page of Google? If I were to write Lisa Larter book, would I find my books on the first page of Google? I should. But do you know how many keywords you actually rank for? If you don't, you might need some help with SEO. So if you know you rank for something, give yourself a 1. If you don't know if you rank or not, give yourself a fat 0. Do you have any backlinks? Are there other websites linking to you that are credible websites? And I'm not talking about your Facebook page that links. I'm talking about, did somebody else write something about you and do they link to you? Do you have any backlinks? Backlinks are basically domain authority builders. If you don't have links from other people's websites linking into you, your domain authority isn't as high as it could be. You want to try to do something to get that up. And you don't do that by sending those smarmy emails saying, could you please put a link on your website to us? You do it by adding value and building relationships with people and creating legitimate reasons for them to want to link out to you. And then so if you have backlinks, give yourself a 1. If you don't, give yourself a 0. And then lastly, number 10, do you do anything to give back to your community, and does anyone know about it? Because some of you are doing all kinds of great stuff, but nobody knows you're doing it. You're not actually talking about what you do in your marketing. So give yourself a 1 if you're doing it, and give yourself a 2 if people actually know you're doing it. But if you're not doing anything and nobody knows, give yourself a -1. All right? So now add up your score and see, how did you do out of a score, out of a 1 to 10 average? What percentage of these things are you doing? I'm going to guess that a lot of you are below 50%. And if you are, then I want you to go through this list and I want you to prioritize things. And I want you to say, okay, in Q1, I'm going to pick this one thing and I'm going to get it working. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be consistent about it all quarter until it is a habit. And then I'm going to add another thing. And you should be able to add at least 4 things over by the end of this year. And by the end of next year, by the end of 2026, you should be able to do all of these things if you really, really focus. All right. 2 things that I want to wrap up with. I threw a lot at you guys. And I know it's the beginning of the year, and I know some of you are really still in the planning stages for this year. So I created a really amazing guide on how to basically plan your future. It's free. If you want to download it, it's a bunch of questions that I have used over the years during my planning sessions to help my clients plan and think about their business. It's a great guide to just print out, sit with a pen and piece of paper, write down your answers, and really get clarity on what you want out of your business this year. If you do that, it'll make those 10 things that we just talked about easier, because you'll be able to then look at those 10 things and say, which of these is going to help me reach my goal? And you can find that at lisalarter.com/planning-your-future. That's lisalarter.com/planning-your-future. We'll add that link to the show notes for you as well, so you can find it there. And then if you're listening to me talk about all this stuff and you're like, oh my God, I need a strategy, I want to know more about one of those action accelerators. I'd like to spend 90 minutes working on this with somebody, because let's be honest, sometimes it sounds easy in theory and then you sit down and you try to do it and it's really hard to do on your own, and you want my help, reach out to me. And you can find my help and you can learn more about the Action Accelerator at lisalarter.com/action-accelerator. That's lisalarter.com/action-accelerator. All right. To kind of recap everything that we talked about today, there's a lot going on in the marketing space. And you as a business owner have a responsibility to understand what's going on in the marketing space and to do as much as you can to set your business up for success. That does not mean doing all of the things perfectly, but it does mean doing the things and getting better at doing the things and being committed to continuing to do the things. If you're not getting better, essentially you're getting worse, because somebody else around you is focused on getting better. I'm not suggesting that you need to hustle hard on all of these things, but what I am suggesting is that the year of 2025 is going to be a defining year for marketing. You're going to see a lot of things change, and change is going to come faster and more furious than ever before. And if you don't want to be left behind and you want your business to flourish and you want your business to grow and thrive this year, then it's really important that you are doing the right things in marketing and that you're not just doing things in marketing to be doing, but rather you're doing the things that are actually going to help you reach your goals. So thank you for listening to this episode of She Talks Business. It's good to be back and having these conversations with you. If you've been listening for a long time and you've never done that one thing that you could do for free that would be really helpful for me, please leave me a review, a 5-star review, and some commentary on why you like this podcast on whatever podcast platform you listen to. And if you've never hit the subscribe or follow button, do that so that you can be notified when we release new episodes of She Talks Business. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your time and your attention, and I hope today was extremely valuable for you. We'll see you next time on the next edition of She Talks Business. Bye for now.